results based? Is it cost cutting?
No, I think with any, there's obviously felt there was a time for a change. There was a time for him as well. He wanted to move on and explore other options. He's been absolutely outstanding for us. 9 years of service. He's obviously had success during that period of time, but we felt the time was right. We've got obviously a whole raft of new players coming through. We've also worked really hard on our coach development and coach education, so it was the time to shift the whole organisation at one time.
Andrew, you gave him a new contract in the summer for 3 years. What was all that about?
Yeah, no, there was ongoing discussion though since that time, and with regard to that, there needed to be some security, obviously, with our employees and whatnot. So it was time to, but it was agreed amongst the group that it was time that to give Stephen the best opportunity. Then that was the way we were going to move things forward, and that's what we've decided ultimately to do. But as I say, he's been nothing short of great, and I think that contract showed how much time we had for Sean Holly.
Is it possible just to explain exactly what the structure is now? Obviously with Steve, but who else is left? Who's gone? Where does Scott Johnson fit into it between now and the end of the season? Just wanted to
Scott's moved on obviously as well, and so the head coach will be Stephen, which is fantastic.
Scott has moved on?
Yeah, Scott, there was an announcement today too.
Oh, that's one
so that's
so
okay.
He's now no longer part of it.
Yep, you need an iPhone.
I did, but I was driving.
Fundamentally, yeah, so again, for the same reasons as I alluded to earlier, Steve will be head coach. Jonathan Humphreys will remain as assistant coach of the forwards. And we'll be in a position now that we're looking at who'll be taking the backs. So that's going to be the thing we'll be looking at there.
Will you be bringing in a director of coaching?
No, we've made a decision for clarity of role for everybody, because we have been criticised in the past for having a lack of clarity around there. It will be a head coach position, and that's what we'll be taking forward from there. Because we felt the whole position with regard to that Scott's role was brought there in a mentorial type role to get a coach development culture being undertaken, and we felt, and one of the examples, the best example we've got is obviously of Steve. We feel now that Steve needs to undertake some roles within that to develop other coaches as well, and we start creating a culture here of coach development as well as player development.
If the Ospreys had reached the Heineken Cup quarterfinals, would Sean be in a job?
I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think what you've seen in Ulster too recently is that's by no means a guarantee. As I said, we wanted to give Stephen obviously the best opportunity to stamp his mark on this organisation and take things forward, and he's got that opportunity.
Andrew, given that you're doing away with director of coaching, director of rugby, whatever you call it these days,
Director of coaching.
Does that have an impact on you? Because presumably Scott was between the coaches and you. Will you now take more of an umbrella role in the rugby side of it, or does your role change?
No, basically my role is to oversee the commercial and rugby aspects. That's remained. So Stephen will still report through to myself. We have 2 managing directors, and I'd suggest that we need to continue to get clarity amongst that group on the board with regard to my role and theirs, but with regard to Stephen's role with myself, that's very clear. I oversee rugby and the commercial elements. Stephen will report that in a very simplified model, if you like, I would suggest, than what the public would perceive it as being in the past.
Who's in charge of recruitment and contracts for next season's squad then?
That's always done on any organisation as a collective with the board and the coach. So obviously Stephen will take a major role within that. I don't see that changing in any way, shape or form.
How do you feel, Steve?
Just feel really excited. I feel we've got a good group of players, we've got a lot of exciting talent coming through, and obviously we've still got seasoned internationals away at the minute with 6 Nations, but I do feel it's a great group of players to take over from.
You're obviously coaching Steve players you played with.
Yeah.
How difficult is that? I mean, you're a very young person who came to the head coach. recent teammates what to do and how to do it?
No, I don't feel like that. Obviously, I haven't been in the Osprey playing environment for the past season, but I feel I know what it takes to become a great Osprey. I feel we've got a lot of great Ospreys within the organisation, and I'm lucky enough to have played for 9 seasons, 1 silverware with the Ospreys, and obviously been on the coaching pathway for 4 seasons. It's just going to be an exciting time, and I'm sure those players will respond.
Has it come earlier, Steve, than you would have expected?
Yeah, possibly, but I do feel I'm ready for the job. I feel really excited about it, and obviously the talent we've got within and the youngsters coming through. And luckily enough, I've had the experience of coaching the age grade. Going to Bridgend for sort of the last 18, 19 months has been a great experience, and also being part of the LV coaching group for the last 2 seasons, and obviously heading it up in this season has just been a great experience for me.
And to confirm, Andrew, it's a permanent appointment for Steve?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's correct. Not an interim one or anything. So it's very clear, very concise. We felt that, as I said, we've always said we've developed from within, and we've always wanted to see people come through the structure which we've created.
It's easy to have hindsight, but would you have done anything differently over the last 2 or 3 years when you consider where you are now?
No, I've felt that one thing that we've been very clear on is that we've come in here to put a system and structure in place. We understood the financial ramifications that were happening within rugby, and that we were going to have to develop largely from within, but we wanted world-class quality. And some people would say, I've asked about our ambition. Our ambition is to still be a leading rugby force in rugby. So our ambition hasn't waned. We're going to have to do it differently. We're going to have to do it from within. And that's what, over the last, really for me, it's the rubber hitting the road. It's what we've been working towards for the last 3 to 4 years.
John stays, Jonathan.
Yes.
Were you sort of tempted to consider him for head coach position, or a more senior role?
No, there's characteristics that we look for that we felt with Stephen he had. Really strong credentials. He has a very clear understanding of what he wants. He is very strong of character, and so that was where Stephen was a logical choice for us.
You used the phrase there, we've got to do it from within. Are you talking for reasons of financial expediency, for the culture? What
Culture and finance, definitely. You can't get away, there is a commercial aspect. However, those cultures, those teams which are largely the more successful, generally have people from that area who represent that area and have an association with that area. We've always said that that's what we've wanted to do. That's what we've wanted to do. We've wanted to grow that from within and bring as much expertise to support the development of local talent. And that's why I think we've been the leading region to contribute to the national cause over the last, since the advent of regional rugby over the last 9 years as well.
This wouldn't have been happening, Andrew, if it wasn't for the financial pressure. How bad is the financial scene in regional rugby at the moment?
No, it wouldn't. I disagree with you there. Commercial aspects are taken into consideration, but they're not the key driver for us in this.
You'd strip, 3 million quid out of your wage bills?
We have, out of our wage bill.
You wouldn't ordinarily be doing that, would you?
No, you wouldn't. But in saying that, it was foreseen some time ago that this was going to be the case. There's no doubt that when you're competing with the likes of France, etc. However, as you've seen with countries like New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, we have financial constraints, but still can succeed. If you have the right developmental processes in place, you can still overcome those hurdles and still be successful. And that's what we've attempted to do, and that's what we've always said we've been trying to do.
It was great a couple of years ago, you showing us your vision, coaching-wise and whatever, and you obviously got to that optimum level, but you're about 20, 30, 40% back from that now, aren't you?
No, that's not what we've been striving to do at all. As I said, we feel we've found someone that can take this region forward, who has the characteristics to do
So
that.
I'm not thinking about the character, but I'm just thinking about the whole setup. Where you have so many coaches for the A, the B, the C group.
We've still got that. Nothing changes. Yeah, nothing changes that. Other people come in to see. This is an interesting point. There's still Dan Griffiths now, Damien Corona, Di Flanagan's been doing a lot with their age grade, Ian Goff. You've got Jason Hyatt down at Swansea. You've got Richard Lancaster who steps in. You've got Ben Rose who's now gone into Bridgend. If anything, we're richer with coaching resource, which at the time we weren't as rich with coaching resource. Now it's time to get in alongside those young men and bring them through. And so that's been our whole philosophy. Nothing has changed with regard to the support that the players will be getting. It's just different faces that'll be in front of them. Mervyn Davis is another one who now steps into the coaching role, and takes more of a lead with that B group. And so
the
on.
boxes are still there, just different names.
Definitely different names. And as we say, Stephen's now, part of his role, will be to undertake the development of those people and assist in their development as well. And we've got a culture now where he has seen somebody do that, and he'll take it on from there. So we're hopeful we can develop more coaches for Wales. We're hopeful that we can continue our strong reputation with developing local talent as well.
When you consider how the landscape has changed financially from when you came in here and perhaps when you sold the region, have you questioned at all whether you still want to be part of that?
Yeah, I was sold a region that knew what was coming and wanted to go down a line of sustainability. And that has not changed one iota. If anything, it actually makes it more exciting because of the fact that we're going to start seeing the likes of the Stephens of this world, the continuation of Jonathan Humphreys, who is, everyone forget, born and bred in this region, has done a fantastic job in developing front row players. I think if you look at the national team now, the majority over the last 3 to 5 years have been Ospreys, and if you look at our scrum and line-out, it's functioning superbly well. So that, for me, makes it even more exciting because we are what we say we are on the tin.
So you've never considered, should I stay here, should I walk away?
No, I don't. That hasn't entered my mind, and probably get more exciting now that, as I say, that we're starting to see some of the fruits of our labour. All too often, sometimes you walk away from things a little bit too early.
Your cost-cutting measures are obviously going to look good in the PricewaterhouseCoopers investigation. Where do you see that going, and are we going to see a bombshell before the beginning of next season? Bombshell
would be a surprise to me, but no, I think it's a very mature approach that's being taken to look at things and we just need to be honest about where we are, and then we can put measures in place once we decide where we want to go. On a national front, on moving away from the Ospreys, I think we're very clear on what we want to achieve. I'd like some clarity at a national level on what we want to achieve, and I think the PricewaterhouseCoopers document allows us to do that and have some honesty about where we currently are.
Steve, can you recall the moment when you first thought, I'd like to go at this coaching game? Was there a particular coach that sort of inspired you thinking, I wanted to do that? Can you take us back?
I think I've always sort of enjoyed, rugby's been my life, and coming to the end of my last days with the Ospreys, and I started coaching the regional age grade kids, which I really, really enjoyed, and even when I was playing, I still sort of couldn't wait to go on a Monday and Wednesday night and work with those guys, and obviously seeing the young talent coming through the Osprey system, it was always really exciting. And then just the bug sort of took effect from there, and the opportunity to come up then to go to Bridgend, which I couldn't wait to do. Even though I sort of still had a playing contract with the Ospreys, it was something that I really couldn't wait to do, and I've just really enjoyed every moment of it, if I'm honest.
And what style of rugby do you believe?
I've got my own sort of thoughts on the game, but I think at this minute in time it's just about making sure we have a good end of the season, and I think obviously discussions then with the coaching staff will take place at the end of the season, which way you want to go with it.
What kind of squad Andrew will Steve have next season in terms of, is there going to be a lot of changes? Is the bulk of the current squad still going to be there? What's the current news you can give us?
Yeah, no, I think we feel we're working towards having an extremely strong squad, of which Steve has been a part of building as well. We've been very open with it and what we're looking to achieve. There's a lot of talk out there, I think, amongst all the squads as to what's going to happen, and that'll become clear over the next few months, and people will settle down into their work. The key thing, though, now is that those senior players that are here need to get alongside, as you alluded to, the next teammate of theirs, but who has had, while he was playing and since retiring, a lot of coaching experience in a very limited amount of time. He was still coaching when he was still playing. So that builds to that whole portfolio. And as Graham Henry said, you know, coaches are a product of their experiences. So, no, we're very confident, and we think that, you know, we're just going to have to settle down, and those players are going to have to get alongside Stephen. We've still got a lot to play for this year. We're still second in the Rabo Direct, which is a fantastic effort. And we'll be pushing forward for a semi-final spot.
Title will be won there, Steve, isn't it? I mean, you're in good shape in that tournament.
Oh yeah, it's all started from the start of the season with a young group as well. Like, this is where it's exciting for the Ospreys. The young group have put this in this sort of position, and like going back to the start of the season where we won 7 games on the bounce, it's largely the group that's there now. And then obviously if we're in a good position bringing the internationals back, then yeah, definitely there's a title to be won.
Are the Welsh regions strong enough to compete with the Irish in the business end of the season?
Yeah, I feel we are. I think, like, obviously just going back to the young talent coming through, and you look at the success we're having the national game in the minute with those boys coming back into our environment, I'm sure we can push the Irish teams.
We heard like the Scarlets got 18 players out of contract this summer, which is a great opportunity for a club, but you know, also a very dangerous one. Where are you? I mean, it's great seeing you sign, hopefully sign Adam, but how many players have you got coming out?
We've had about 5 coming out of contract. However, and we layer it probably a little bit differently. However, the key thing is, yeah, decisions like Adam's is a hard one to make, because, but quite rightly so, he's a world-class prop, and those players now need to really stand up. And so there's almost an excitement from where I'm sitting that those people then will value more what they have from this club, because those decisions are a lot harder to make now. Do you keep them? Do you not? Look, we've been very lucky. We've had a board that have supported the re-signing, you know, Ryan Jones, John Thomas, now Adam Jones, Duncan Jones. You know, there's a core there that we've looked to keep that represent this region in the way that we feel it's important to be represented.
You talked about doing anything within. Does that apply to the search for a backs coach as well? Is there someone within the regional setup that you're looking at, or would you look outside for that?
No, I think that's going to be an interesting find, because globally there is a shortage of backs coaches, and we now have Scott and Sean, who have obviously left for different reasons, and that may not be, you know, necessarily from within. However, what we have got right at the moment is we've put young backs coaches alongside our age grade and our premiership side. So Swansea, Damien Corona, Craig Warlow, Dan Griffiths, Di Flanagan's involved with their age grade teams, etc. So we're trying to grow that, it's like in your team. Sometimes, you know, you're trying to fill a void, and we may have to fill that. May or may not. It may still come from within. And the beauty of it was making a quick decision on this. We had someone we felt who had the credentials, and we were able to move.
Steve, do you have any names you have someone in mind yourself, or suggested?
I think obviously we've spoken about discussions, but I don't think it'd be fair to sort of mention names, but obviously it's been in discussion with Andrew, and just all 3 get someone in place as quickly as we can.
Players' reaction, Andrew? Are you expecting a step up, as you often see with a new coach, or are you going to think they're going to say what's going on, or what's the initial reaction been?
We met with the group last week, not the meeting that's been, I think, in the media, but a message before that, and we're meeting with another group today. So we've kept them well informed with what's happening, and we were going with it. The reaction to Steve's appointment so far has been extremely positive. You've got to remember, a lot of these guys have played on the pitch with Stephen. They understand what his character's like. They understand that he's a man of honesty, that he's a straight shooter, and they've played with him alongside him as well. So we're expecting from them a response of true support, of making this work, and the feedback we've had so far has been extremely positive, and I think if you talk to them you get a similar reaction.
What do you think will be, and what you're hoping will become the reaction of the supporters then?
Well, we need their support, and we're trying to do this in the best interest of the business, and we're trying to do this in the best interest of getting what we believe will be a successful team for them to come and watch. So we're hopeful that they'll get alongside a young man from their area, born and raised in their area, who wants to do his best for this region. And the last thing he needs is brick bats, when really what he needs is a hell of a lot of support. And so we asked them to get alongside and help him out. That's what we'd like. Yeah.
Sean's very unusual. 9 years is a long time. It's like the clock is ticking now. You know, a lot more pressure on you.
Yeah, no, there is a bit of pressure on me now, but it's, like I said, it's just exciting. I just can't wait to get started, and obviously it's a little bit new for me now being head coach, but I just really, really excited and just can't wait to start working with, like I said, the young group we've got, exciting times, like obviously just seeing a lot of them in the LV Cup going up against the big hitters in Northampton and Worcester, and I can see what's coming through, and I can see what's coming through underneath that as well. So for me, it's just a real exciting time.
What about this side of it, and being more in the spotlight though, and people recognise you? How's that going to
Yeah, obviously that's a little bit more new for me, and I'm hoping for a good response from you guys. But no, it's something that's part of the job, and luckily I've got a lot of playing experience on the last 4 years, and I've obviously been around Sean and Jono and doing a little bit of LV Cup time and stuff, and I'm sure it'll get obviously more high profile, but something that I'm hoping to embrace and really enjoy.
You like the Rottweiler in front of you, so you're all right.
Yeah, he's my right hand man, yes.
They're like twins, though, eh?
Yeah.
Who is Referees the candidate for backs coach?
Beg your pardon?
Referees.
Yeah, he's another person that you'd put in the frame there, there's no doubt about it, along with the other names and potentially some global ones as well. So
Would he be contractually an option for this season? Is that possible?
that'll be ongoing discussion. It'll be unfair to say anything like that about anyone's position, wouldn't it?
He's like
What's
surprised.
Kidnap him on Friday.
He's like surprised John Humphreys is still here, given that he's been must have been quite a slot for him.
No, I think John has said that he wants to be the best forwards coach in the world, and that's what he wants to be. So it was Humps is very much behind this decision, and if anyone who knows Jonathan Humphreys knows how loyal he is. If he wasn't happy, he wouldn't be here. So no, he's been fantastic. Humps is what Humps is. He's straight up and down, and he wants to be the best forwards coach. So he wants to continue to concentrate on that.
Is there any part of this, Steve, that daunts you, that worries you, or is it just there's a lot resting on you, isn't there? So do you get worried about that? Do you get excited about that? Where do you draw that?
No, I don't think it's a worry, because like I've looked at the group we've got to go forward with, so it's just real excitement for me, and obviously like you can look at it that way, but for me it's just about excitement and just getting on with the job now. Can't wait to get back to Llandarcy to prepare the team ready for Friday night.
Division 1 West title or East title 1 year and grab it direct this year.
Well, that'd be nice for me. That would be nice, yeah.
That's what it's about, doing them, winning titles, so you've got the pressure in there.
For the head coach, there's no doubt that that's got to be his focus, and we've got to build a business around him which enables us to grow the talent to assist him to do that. That's what we're here for.
The region is still a young one. You've been players and peaks and drops, but is this a bit of a watershed moment in terms of the next stage of
I think so. I'm pleased you picked that up. It is. It's really exciting, and I think, as I said, 3.5 years ago, we come in here with a plan, and it is a watershed moment. So, and an exciting one. At the end of the day, coaches are mentors to the mentors. Okay, and those mentors are there to grow the game and grow good people in the community, because that's what rugby can do. So I don't mean to get the violins out, but the fact is, if you've got a local kid at the helm who can inspire and motivate others, then the game's in good stead right the way through the community level.
We'll come out for what, 10th season next year of regional rugby. We started with 5, we've got 4. Collective losses, the 4 or 5 regions must be 50, 60 million, I would think.
I think we're the only region that's ever had profit years. So, you know, it's an ideal time to be looking at ourselves and what we're doing and whatnot. I still think, well, of course I am, regional rugby is still the way that the region's got to compete. At the end of the day too, you've got to look at it that has there been 2 Grand Slams granted to the country or earned by the country in that time? Yes, there has. Has there been incredible performances in 2003 World Cup and the last one? Yes, there has. So I think there's a lot of positives that you can keep kicking it, but at the end of the day, or we can embrace it. And I think if we embrace it, we'll be a lot more powerful.
It's just getting the financial model a bit more operable, isn't it? That's the thing.
Very much so.
Is it profitable? Is it possible to be profitable as a region? No.
I think when you look at, there are models around the world that are like Toulouse, Leicester, Northampton. I think Leinster would be profitable. You know, so yes, there are. However, that makes sometimes decisions really hard at board level on what to do, such as who do you keep, who don't you, how do you take this forward. One thing that is really interesting when I look at this region and where it's come from is it actually has bubbled away quite nicely over, and particularly in the first 5 to 6 years. So maybe we need to get back to some of the initiatives, some of the ways that we were doing things, just to build that slowly and not expect, as you quite rightly said, it is only 10 years old. We're still relatively fledgling. So our future really is getting in and doing more with the kids, getting their support, and maybe just building an innings a little bit slower and going back to some of the things that we're doing initially.
But it's a chicken and egg thing, isn't it? If you strip away the stars for one reason or another, which is what's happened, a lot of the bigger names haven't gone, is it hard to then regenerate the business and get more people through the turnstiles?
Well, experience would tell us that when this region started, it wasn't perceived as having the big names. It had the young kids, and yet crowds are actually diminished over the last 4 to 5 years. So the two don't go hand in hand, and I think what people are looking for is to have pride in a team they feel they have part of, and that's going to be a big part. Well, what we've been saying is a big part of us moving forward. And I still think we don't celebrate enough the fact that we actually have kept a lot of big names too. So Adam Jones, I was actually quite astounded at how muted that was. You've kept the best, arguably the best prop in the world on your local doorstep, and really hasn't been much said about it at all. And it's a big coup. It's something we should be celebrating. So the big names we believe are still there. They're the names that we feel can contribute and help Steve to make this a successful region. Alan Wynne-Jones, British Lion, is still here. Those kind of names. And alongside them, you have the Justin Tippericks of this world, the up-and-coming stars, the Reece Webbs, the Ashley Becks. And so getting that mix is really important for us.
Steve, are you a risk taker in terms of promoting youth and style of play, or are you maybe a little bit more conservative? And I don't want to label it in one position and one decision, but take number 10, where you've got a clear choice between an exciting young kid and a game controller, without getting into the personalities. Which side of that general debate do you take?
It's a good question. I just think I know what the young talent are coming through, and we are going to back youth is something we'll have to do, like with the squad we've got, and I think they will come of age quite quickly, so we will be backing the youth, and we are lucky to have re-signed people like Adam, we've got Arne and Wynne, to bring those younger kids on quite quickly.
And will you be happy to throw them into some of the bigger games and maybe they've experienced all that?
Yeah, definitely. Like you go back to a sort of Eli's come through the LV, and then he started out in Barrett's. So those type of kids are starting to come through, which is, I think, it's just really exciting for us as a coaching staff and organisation, and something hopefully the supporters can identify to. I think the supporters is a real exciting time, because the next batch of real exciting kids are on their way through.
Andrew, is that part of the decision that over the last 18 months, during the World Cup period, during the Six Nations periods, actually Ospreys have looked really exciting side, disappointing some of the big games when everyone's available? Is it almost, it's that the kids coming through that we've got to embrace, rather than, I hate to use the word relax goes, but rather than that image that you had in the past?
Yeah, I think it's keeping the right ones and popping young talent around them, so they're getting, again, as I say, mentor to them, future mentors, so that there's a culture that's created of success. And so that's really important. It was really interesting speaking to Shane with Steve this morning. Shane's, you could just tell he has been outstanding in training this week, because he wants to help Eli and Hanno be the best they can be, and because he's got a mate that he played with, now coaching. So the response from that end, that's exactly what there's a real excitement about the place with having that right mix of older heads here with the right group of younger kids, and it's actually been really good, really positive.
Might Shane be a future backs coach?
Yeah, if Shane decides that he wants to do that, Shane, I think at the moment needs to decide what it actually is he wants to do. He's got he is a great example to young kids of developing some really strong business contacts through his rugby. So he may want to persuade, go down that line. But we would, we would welcome talking to Shane about that kind of thing. It isn't something he's chosen to do age period rugby in that at this stage, because he's got a young family and everything else. But and he's got some, as I say, some really good business interests. But yeah, that's Shane's decision.
In short term, Steve, you look to utilise not just his, but that kind of experience and know-how is a gift sent, God sent for you, and to have that on hand.
Oh yeah, it's great. We've got a lot of internationals in around. We've still got like Duncan, we've got Shane in around at this period of time. So the boys can obviously those can drive the boys through this as well, and obviously it's a good help for me.
Any more questions? One more, guys.
I know we've seen the Blues go back to the Arms Park and the Dragons redesigning on their home footprint, but is it perhaps the case that you've got to come up with a better offering for the public, and you might have to do what you've done at Bridgend a bit more often, and might we see you perhaps sneaking away from here for a couple of games and maybe going around the region a bit more?
Really interested to say that, because one of the best atmospheres we had here was when we played Munster, when Australia played Wales, and we had 5,500 here. So I think it's more about making that experience here. However, in saying that, even talking to Adam Jones yesterday with Steve, he was raving about the atmosphere that he saw at Bridgend. So there's a balance. We've been doing it for the last couple of years, going to Bridgend and that, because it is a good small ground, and it's something that we'll look at every year and look at our fixture list. But in saying that, what we'll help back to is we've got a really good core here that can get this place with a good atmosphere, even though it's slightly small.
But it's probably not so much the football that's hitting you as the extra internationals, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
The Barbarians game was on sale yesterday.
Yeah.
We come out of that game they'll be selling before in the autumn, and that's all against you. I mean, it's just with massive budgets to market the game. I mean, you're in a terrible place.
Oh, jeez.
It's like the fifth region is Wales, and it's working against you.
Yeah, I don't really want to get drawn into all of that. If we can, I can see where you're going with it. But
I'm not thinking anti-union, but it is.
Look, I think it's further beyond that. I think what it is that we need to look at the whole global season, and we need to look at how we can restructure it so that we do get a flow on, and we don't tax these players nor the public for the same pound. You're right. There is a distinct difference in the football crowd that come here to the rugby crowd, and the football club have been fantastic to us since going to the. I know there was rumours that we're leaving and all this kind of stuff, but they've been nothing short of fantastic, and there's a very harmonious relationship here. So. No, it's a challenging environment, but one where you're still seeing good crowds in other competitions, and remember, crowds have still grown in other countries that currently compete in the Celtic League. Ireland still had an improvement in crowds, I believe. Italy,
yeah,
etc.
We've got 10 professional teams in a 100-mile radius served by 1.5 million people. They've got 4 regions with 45,000 season ticket holders across the 4 of them. We've got 15. But then they don't have professional football, and they're 2.5 hours between each other. So geographically, they're different, and they've got more, a bigger population as well.
And that's the things that we're going to sit, and this is where the PwC report will be great, because we're going to have to ask those questions as a collective.
Sure.
Me sitting here trying to come up with solutions, no one's going to listen, no one's going to care. But if we sit there as a group and actually formulate a plan, then we'll just have to go.
Well, if the big ass at the top considers you and looks at you and maybe factors in your marketing difficulties, you might get even more money out of the same number of people.
That could be a solution. I think we've got to sit down and discuss it.